welcome back. It is week 34 on Out on That Line. The podcast is officially older than me. My name is Geoff with my co-host Alex. As always, Alex, how you doing this week?
Oh, I'm excited because it's just another classic Geoff and Alex mess around.
Oh, I love it, baby. All right. Well, we have a few things to talk about today. We have a listener submission. We'll get into more of that later. We have a little segment that I'm going to introduce when we get to it. And we also have a couple of announcements of upcoming albums. We'll let the audience decide which one we're more excited about. So first of all, we were notified today. I got an Amber Alert that Lana Del Rey is planning another album release called Blue Bannister, for whatever that's worth.
That's probably where she lost her virginity. I don't know if that's a bar or an actual banister, but I'm sure it's some kind of narcissistic nugget from her past. If I know Lana, and I sure feel like I do.
Oh, I feel like we know her too well at this point. Folks aren't familiar with the recent podcast we did of her album Chemtrails Over the Country Club. We did not like it. So go back and listen to that episode. Spoiler alert, again, we did not like it. But we have something much more important and something that I'm much more excited about and is actually releasing on my birthday, July 30th. Hint, hint, audience. July 30th. That's July the 30th. Billie Eilish is coming out with a new album. Her follow-up to that stellar debut that she had.
Yeah, do androids dream of electric sheep? I never will get it. When we all fall down, do we go to sleep?
It was something like that, yeah.
Ring
around the rosy, something like that, yeah.
I'm just going to boomer myself with the title. I might as well. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because as people who longtime listeners will know, I did a hard 180 on Billie Eilish, wasn't into it, and then made a real dedicated effort to get inside the mind of Billie. And by gum, I'm a fan. So I'm excited to see what she's going to produce on your birthday.
Yeah, I think I'm excited for it because I feel like she doesn't strike me as an artist that is going to put something out that she's not satisfied with. And given what she was able to accomplish with the first album, I think this one should be pretty good. You know, I think a lot of bands do suffer from that sophomore slump. I think that's something we see quite a bit. But there's also plenty that have blown their first album out of the water with their sophomore effort. So we'll see which side of that coin she lands on. And I'm looking forward to that. So look for that on the podcast sometime, I would guess, in August. Guessing first week of August or so. And we'll let you know officially when that's coming out. Now, we have a little segment I thought of, and I did get pre-approval, folks. Don't worry. We're not prying into any private life that my co-host Alex does not want exposed. This is a little something I call Get to Know Your Co-Host. The star of the show today is going to be one Alex.
Hi.
Alex, how do you feel about this right now?
I feel great. I feel excellent. I've been waiting for the right platform and the right time on which to tell my story, and I think this is finally it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. When this global pandulce is over, who are you going to see? Who are you going to see live?
Ooh, what an excellent question. See, this is something I struggle with a lot of the time when I think about concerts, because you've seen Bruce Springsteen live in a big ass venue. You've seen Meatloaf live in a big ass venue. So I want that same experience because, no disrespect to Casey Musgraves, no disrespect to Doja Cat, no disrespect to Caroline Rose, no disrespect to Waxahachie. All acts I was supposed to see pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was excited to see all of them, but there's just a kind of a sense of scale to something like I Hate You Too, but that would be a huge show.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what would that be for me? And as we know, first of all, we'll get him out of the way early once again. Frank Zappa's dead, so he's out.
R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace, King. But if I had to pick something similar to that scale with that much prestige in the history of music, especially live music, Billy Joel at MSG.
Ooh, that's a great pick.
I will spend whatever I have to spend to have me a New York weekend to see Billy Joel at MSG.
That would be a great pick because at MSG, he brings a lot of folks out to perform with him.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Springsteen has even performed with him out there.
I mean, that's just the guys across the river, basically.
Yeah, the King of Long Island and the King of New Jersey.
You gotta love it.
Yep, you gotta love it. Okay, what is your favorite performance that you've ever done yourself?
Oh, that I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll reframe that as the most fun one I've ever done.
Yeah, sure. I didn't spend any time on these questions at all. Reframe away.
Stick and move. Definitely when I was still with Laser Dad, the New Year's Eve show that we did at Gusto's, because it was the hometown bar where you and me and all the other fellas spent a ton of time. And it was New Year's, and I historically have had some really, like a handful of really stellar, fun, wackadoo New Year's.
Yeah.
But like never really to the sense of scale that I think I wanted out of my New Year.
Mm-hmm.
And playing a Laser Dad show at Gusto's, and especially because we covered Prince 1999, we snuck that in there. We're like, whatever, thematically it works.
It's a 90s song, yeah.
Exactly. I'm a huge Prince guy, so like I was pretty much in hog heaven. I had one of those like 30-minute pig orgasms. I was like in my element, motherfucker. It was great.
So good your tail uncurled.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Okay. What's your favorite performance you've ever seen?
Matt Reno trying to eat with a fork and knife.
Oh my God. I'm crying.
I've been talking to him all day. Poor guy.
Oh man. Yeah, he always gets the brunt of it.
He sure does. Derek gets it on the Skimbo Lounge, so favorite performance I've ever seen. Are we talking strictly live or in any kind of format?
Live or theater or
Okay. This is just a total weird one again, but there was a tenor named Alfredo Kraus who in like 1990 gave a performance in Argentina, and he sang the song, and here's where what is it called? El Dia que me quieras. And his wife at the time, I believe, had terminal cancer. So he went out to give this performance in front of all the opera snobs in Argentina. And he starts off, and you can tell that like he means every word that he's saying. He's just like pouring his entire heart and soul into this one performance. And then he gets like right up to the end, and he just goes, no mas, and just like, he doesn't break out bawling, but he starts crying, and he has to like turn away. And he gets like an 8-minute standing ovation because everybody knew what he was going through. And like the fact that he got 98% of the way through the song without a catastrophe, everyone was like, thank you. Sorry that this is happening to you. I just remember like my music teacher in Indiana, who was kind of a dick, but I also kind of liked him. He was this like fat little weird Cuban guy who had like a career at the Met. He was like a taskmaster, but also like trying to take an interest. So when he showed me that video, I was like, this is like a strange bonding moment for me and this little man. But I was very grateful that he showed it to me.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to have to check that out because I am a sucker for a good like operatic performance, especially when you can tell there's emotion and they're not just trying to show off their pipes.
Yeah, the audio quality is the audio quality is dog shit, but you'll get the point.
Yeah, it's like, what was the guy's name that was on America's Got Talent? Was it like Paul Potts or something like that?
Paul Pot. I don't know what his name was, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it was. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, God damn, you don't expect that sort of thing. You don't expect to feel that emotionally moved by that sort of thing, and that was pretty cool.
Was it Ken Bone? Are those the same people?
No.
Ken Bone from The Debate and then the opera guy?
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
No.
Because for some reason I thought that might be true.
I mean, Ken Bone, if you're listening and you are an expert opera singer, let us know.
Weigh in. We
suppose.
just
Yeah.
know you're into some weird sex shit because you got doxxed.
He sure did. That was pretty gross. Because he's not a man you want to know that stuff about either.
Not especially.
No, certainly not. Okay, I have two more. If you could master any instrument, which one would you pick?
The drums. I have
Okay.
big time drum envy. I watch Rory and Tanner do it. I watch any drummer drum, and I'm just like, I got the music in me. I just wish I knew how to channel any of this. I'm big into the drums. If I could become like extremely competent at the drums, be a happy man.
Okay, maybe we can get Tanner to be like the J.K. Simmons to your Miles Teller.
There we go.
You know, maybe we can set that up and learn you a thing or two. Okay, last question. And this one I think you're going to have the most fun with. If you could remove any artist from the history books, who would it be?
Oh my god.
Could be a band as well.
From the history books. Okay.
Or just Thanos snapped them right out of the world.
Okay. I now realize it is the plot of a movie, and I don't say this because I hate them. I just want to see what the ramifications are if you blip the Beatles out of existence.
Oh man.
Because that movie tomorrow, God damn it,
Almost.
yesterday was so bad that I like had a mini stroke and changed the title.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Like they didn't do justice to the concept. So I would love to see like how all of music history changed if you deleted them.
I am going to go way out on a limb here and say I don't think it would have changed much at all.
You don't think so?
No, because I think today's artists are much more influenced by people like Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and like the Rolling Stones and people that were a little edgier than the Beatles. I think there are plenty of, so you think about it. It's like the Beatles started their career. They're doing the Hold My Hand, all those lovey-dovey, teeny bopper kind of songs. And they went hard into like psychedelic territory where they kind of had some little bit of hard rock songs, but there were other bands that existed at the same time. So it's not as if those bands wouldn't have existed without the Beatles. I don't know about their popularity without the Beatles, but I mean, you had Bob Dylan still.
Yeah, the Beach Boys.
At the same time as the Beatles, you had the Beach Boys, you had Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin came shortly after that. So, to me, I really don't know how much difference it would have made.
See, I think the Beach Boys would have taken the throne, and I think people might have been more apt to stick with them through the weird stuff and through all of Brian's issues. And if you've got the Beach Boys as like the driving force, as a musical influence, and it has this cumulative effect through generations, I think Billie Eilish is, making moon music. You know what I'm saying? She's just like in a capsule in space, just like it might have accelerated the entire evolution of pop music. Brian Wilson.
So what you're saying is if the Beatles didn't exist, we would have space colonies by now.
Correct.
So what you're saying is the Beatles are responsible for the fact that the human race has not advanced as far as it should have at this point.
Geoff, I don't want to say that John Lennon personally made sure that Donald Trump could be elected, but I'm also not comfortable saying that doesn't follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If anybody out there can disprove that butterfly effect happened, let us know, because I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I think there's just a cascade effect of the vacuum that noted asshole John Lennon leaves when he dies and gives rise to, a crypto-fascist.
Yeah, I mean, if John Lennon were still alive, he likely would have been playing working class hero on the campaign trail for Donald Trump.
Can you imagine? Just a bloated, balding, salivating John Lennon.
Imagine if Yoko Ono existed at the level of stardom she would have been at the same time as Sharon Osbourne, both coming from the UK. Obviously Yoko's not from the UK, but John Lennon being from there, she probably would have spent a lot of time there. I just feel like those two existing in the same universe at the same level of stardom, that would have been bad news.
That could have, that would have been very bad news, especially because we know Sharon Osbourne's a massive racist against Asian people. So I can't imagine it would have been a long or productive meeting.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say if you're racist against one group of people, you're probably gonna have at least 2 or 3 more.
It's a salient point, Jeff. It's a salient point. I will give you that.
Yeah, she may not have been filmed saying any of that stuff, but oh, she did call someone ghetto one time. I think it was Holly Robinson Pete.
Oh boy.
Of Hanging with Mr. Cooper fame.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I think it was on that show, and I don't know if it was her or another black person that was on the show, but she definitely, I think, called somebody ghetto.
That's a very classy move from a very classy woman whose face is 90% plastic.
Yeah, she's terrible. Terrible. Well, I like the direction that last question went. I like where we ended up there.
Yeah, imagine, Jeff.
I would like to. It is fun to imagine a world without the Beatles.
It's
that's
interesting for sure.
Yeah, because that movie didn't really allow you to do that. The world existed with the Beatles songs. People just didn't know it was the Beatles that wrote them.
Yeah, and other stuff disappeared too, like Coca-Cola and Harry Potter, and like haha tee hee hee. Look at all the things he could profit off of in the sequel. It was just.
Do you think they're going to do that?
No, fuck no.
Okay. Yeah, I think he learned his lesson. I think was the thing there.
Yeah, happy ever after in the marketplace.
If John Lennon were still alive, absolutely no way that movie gets made.
Fuck no. He would personally hold it up.
Yeah, Paul McCartney is probably like, just kick me a few shekels and go ahead and make your movie.
I'd just like to have fun.
Well, what do you say we get into the featured album this week?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is a listener submission from cousin of the podcast, Patrick. So Patrick, thank you once again. You had sent us over Whiskey Myers for one of our early episodes. We're still cooking. You sent us over Alan Stone, Building Balance, the 2019 album. Now, I will tell you, I will admit, the only thing I knew about Alan Stone was he's a nerdy-looking white guy, and he was on a Live from Daryl's House with Daryl Hall at one point, the guy from Hall & Oates. And I liked it then, but that is really Daryl Hall's show. That's like, he's not going to let anybody kind of outshine him on that one. But I was really curious about this album when Patrick sent it over. And so we're going to talk about 6 songs on here. We each picked 3. And overall, this one took me by surprise. I was not expecting this album out of a guy that looks like that.
No, neither was I. In fact, to the point where I'll straight out admit to your cousin as well. Cousin, are you listening? When we first got those 2 albums, Whiskey Myers and Alan Stone, who I kept referring to as Alan Jones all week.
Is that the tire place?
I think so. I also think that's AJ Styles' actual name. I don't know.
AJ Styles.
I know. A little pipsqueak. We got those albums, and I took a look at both of them, and I'm like, okay, Whiskey Myers is a totally blank white album. I hate that. And then I was like, and a reedy white guy. I don't think I'm going to enjoy either of these albums. Like, we'll do them, and I'll be totally fair, but I can tell I don't think I'm going to be into these. And that was literally judging a book by its cover. Because
that's what you get.
That's what I get. That's what I get for being a narcissist and a snob. So, do we use your cousin's name? I forget.
Patrick?
Patrick? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick?
Call him Pat.
Pat?
Can
I call you Pat? Mea culpa, buddy. Mea culpa. I was wrong. And you were right. I really enjoyed this album.
Excellent. I did too. So I will tell you, so to start off, Alan Stone, you look at this guy, he's got the long hair. He looks like he lives in Brooklyn, right? I mean, just looks exactly like somebody you'd see walking down the street in Brooklyn. The kind of thick rim glasses. I don't know if he actually needs them or not. I would hope so. I would think so. But very, very soulful music. Can tell he's very influenced by the yacht rock. Kept hearing a lot of that in here.
That doobie bounces in there a lot.
Yep. And it made sense now hearing this album why he was on Live at Daryl's House in the first place, because those two types of music, Hall & Oates and this, kind of go hand in hand. If you
Mm-hmm.
like one, you're probably going to like this. So this first song on the album, Brown Eyed Lover, this was one that I picked. And this was the one where I picked this one because it surprised me that much. I was not expecting this big of a sound. I was not expecting it to be so smooth. I was not expecting the voice that this guy has. I mean, just kind of a powerhouse song to start out with. And, I don't know if I had been familiar with his music, maybe I wouldn't have liked this one quite as much as I did, but because it just came out of nowhere for me, this one really just like kicked off this whole album, and I was off to the races. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, I was really taken aback by it as well because, again, this had kind of fallen by the wayside. We never really went back and decided to do this one until we got to the end of last week, and we're like, oh, we got to do something, and we dug into the well.
Mm-hmm.
So, it took me completely by surprise when it started, and the first thing I thought was it reminded me a lot, and you'll probably snort derisively, but it reminded me a lot of Gavin DeGraw at first. It had that same kind of sound. And I don't necessarily mean his level of songwriting, but his voice. He's got that very loud, very brassy sound, which is kind of what I'm going to call him Alan Jones. It's going to happen. Alan Stone is doing throughout this album. For me, obviously, as a singer, tracking what he does with his voice throughout the entire album is really fascinating. Mm-hmm. And here, he kind of doesn't hit you with the brunt of the Blue-Eyed Soul right up front.
Yeah.
It's a really great kind of like, dip a toe in the hot tub way to get into this album.
Yeah. Yeah, really good, and one of several great love songs on the album. And it's about his fiance. He's talking about how he's on the road so much, and he's like, I got a brown-eyed lover, she's waiting for me, but I don't want to make her wait, so like, how do I figure this out that I can give her the time she deserves? Has those kind of insecure thoughts about like, well, if I'm not there spending time with her, like, what if she finds someone just as good as me but has the time to spend with her? And it's like, everybody's had those kind of thoughts, right? Whether it's a relationship that you're in or one that you never got into, there's always that insecurity and that little bit of jealousy that kind of comes through. But he seems like he's a very honest songwriter, and I don't think he ever gets overly deep. It's certainly not a Dylan Masters of War to steal one of your references. It's certainly not at that level of lyrical mastery or anything like that. But that's not to say that all of the lyrics throughout this album are not very good. They're all very simple to follow. He doesn't touch on themes that are very dark. He doesn't touch on things that are hard to unpack. It's easy to hear what he's singing, and that allows you to really dig into the bass lines, the riffs on the guitar, the synth lines, the vocal gymnastics that he does throughout a lot of this album. It seems like it's all just very well balanced, very well put together, and it starts right off with Brown Eyed Lover.
Yeah, and like you said about the message of the song, it's very simple, obviously. Just, a guy who's frequently separated from the love of his life while he's out on the road. We've seen it 100 times. Mm-hmm. But what's nice about this is, to use another frequently used phrase on the show, he doesn't try to put a hat on a hat. He's like, This is the song. I'm not going to do any more than the song needs to convey what I'm feeling inside, which is this irony that he as the character is worried about testing the limits of this woman's love and patience, not realizing the entire time that she's like, no, go fulfill your destiny, and I will be here, and I will join you. Like, wherever this takes you, this takes us. So yeah, it's a very optimistic way to get in here, instead of the like usual, like, I'm a road dog and it's hard sleeping in a gas station parking lot now, tuna. Like, it's a nice change of pace.
Somebody's watching me through the glory hole.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. So the next song that I picked as well, the next one we're going to talk about is Miscommunicate. So there's several between Brown Eyed Lover and Miscommunicate, but we're trying something new this week. We're not going to mention those other ones. We're just going to talk about the ones that jumped out at us, in order to maybe give you guys a little taste, a little sample platter to get into the menu The full menu being the whole album, which I certainly suggest, spoiler alert, certainly suggest that you go and listen to, because it's a fun album. It's a fun thing to listen to. But in Miscommunicate, that bass line has just the right amount of funk. Just the right amount. Just a sprinkle of magic in there. And it's just a really wonderful song to listen to.
Well, you know who co-wrote it, don't you?
Who?
Theo Katzman, who you may recognize from the great Wolfpack.
Oh, that would explain that bass line.
That's where your funk comes from. Because here's the other thing about Miscommunicate. Alan Stone is...
very good.
I got it that time. He has said that the album that changed his life was Stevie Wonder Intervisions. And you hear that and you go, oh, that makes sense when you hear Miscommunicate. It's like, for a gawky white feller, it is uncanny how much he can make himself sound like Stevie Wonder. And part of me really enjoys it, and then part of me is a little annoyed that he's clearly trying to ape Stevie Wonder so much. Yeah. But it's not like it doesn't make me hate the song at all. It's just one of those, like, I don't really know how I feel about this, but I'm enjoying the shit out of it. So and it's, again, that bass line, it's absolutely impossible to not get off your ass and move to this song.
Yeah. I think with anything, there's a difference between aping something and paying homage to it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the level of talent that you're bringing and the level of dedication to the original material, which I think he probably has a very deep knowledge and a deep love of all that material. So I can certainly understand why you'd be a little bit annoyed to hear that. I think I'm on the other side of that, where I'm like, he loves him so much that he's like, this is my opportunity to, kind of pay homage to singing in that style and kind of sounding like him a little bit.
Yeah, and again, it's not like, oh, you have no business doing, how fucking dare you try to imitate the great Stevie Wonder. I love Stevie Wonder too. So, like, if you want to give me a Stevie Wonder song that Stevie Wonder just had nothing to do with, I'm fine with that. And then they got it down to the detail. There's fucking the harmonica in this song. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you told me this was a cover of a Stevie Wonder song, I'd probably believe you.
Yep. Yeah, it's just got like that 70s and kind of early 80s soul dripping all over it. Mm-hmm. It's just I really like this one. The subject matter is nice because he's talking about the good old days, back when your friends used to actually come and knock on your door, but now everybody, all we do now is miscommunicate, because we don't spend time with each other. We don't have a community with each other anymore, So it's definitely kind of a hippie sort of thing, definitely a boomer sort of vibe in this song, but it works because, one, the music is excellent. I did not know Theo Katzman was in Wolfpack, but that makes a whole bunch of sense, that the song sounds like it does. And it's just, I think it's hard to find anything not to like about a lot of the stuff on this album. There was certainly, just like with Fountains of Wayne, there was things that I didn't like as much as other things, but I really couldn't pick a point out on this album where I was like, oh, I don't like hearing this.
Yeah, no, me either. There were just parts where I was like, I'm just not going to pick this song. And that was as negative as it got.
Yep, exactly. So the next one is one of your picks. Lay It Down.
Okay. It comes with the usual caveat. I am going to invoke the name of R. Kelly. And I realize he's a monster. So we all agree he's a monster. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking pure technique, and we all know what his voice sounds like, so that I may make a comparison, the song structure here reminded me a lot of the way Trapped in the Closet sounds. It was like modernized a little bit with the percussive shuffle, but this has one of those really throwback kind of quiet storm sounds to it.
Yeah.
So I really love the way the song sounds. Now, here's where I have a question for you. I want you to help me crack this chestnut.
Okay.
I do not know how to feel about him using the phone metaphor for himself and his love. How do you feel about it?
To me, I was like, you got to pick something, I suppose. Mm-hmm. It's a little corny. I think we're probably going to land on the same side on this, how we feel about it. I think like I said, his vocal talent and the quality of the music and the production is just lush. So I think that carries him through a lot of situations where you might consider that this might be a little bit cheesy. This might be a little bit corny. Like, he could have picked a better metaphor. He could have picked something else to compare himself to than a phone, but it didn't take me out of the song. But I certainly, when you decide you want to focus on that, I can certainly see where you're like, he could have picked something better than that.
Well, and for me, there's levels of irony to it. It's ironic to do this song right after Miscommunicate, where the whole message of that is like, we don't talk anymore, to then be like, oh, the instrument of community's demise, the phone, I will allow to be my persona in this. And for the subject matter of the song, once again, it is ironic that you have something as cold and impersonal as a phone representing very heartfelt subject matter. So for me, that whole fucking metaphor didn't really work. But again, not like, oh, I'm pissed off, Geoff. How do I get my month's subscription back from Spotify for this one? But I want to put some lyrics to you and to the listening public. Just
yeah, let's have it.
I think maybe hearing them spoken will bring them into stark relief. Want to be the first thing you reach for in the morning and the last thing you put down at night. Want my heart to be the only thing you're charging. Search for me frantically when I'm out of sight. Keep me close enough to fit inside your pocket. Let me see inside the windows to your heart. If you're looking for some love, let me unlock it. When you need another chance, we can restart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done delicately enough, right? You know what I mean? He's not like, you deleted an app in my heart, and now my battery of love is at 4%. We're in the red. Like, it's not super ham-fisted, but once you kind of are like, he's comparing himself to a phone. It's one of those like, oh, because I was really enjoying it, and then I really started to listen. I was like, oh, he's a phone.
Yeah, he could be, and I'm just kind of like thinking about it a little deeper here because I didn't really think too deep into this one. I just listened to the music and really liked it. But I think maybe he's not going for the opposite message of miscommunicate. Maybe he's just didn't do as good a job communicating the same message as he meant to. That he wants to be in place of her phone, where she might be paying too much attention to it. And he's like, no, I want to be that thing you pay attention to rather than being your phone, and I think it's just a little bit lost in translation.
Well,
and give him some credit. Yeah,
I will too, in the sense that I will submit that in an album, it's not like, okay, well, the first song you did was about getting your heart broken, so now you can't do a song about you breaking the heart. And it all has to have thematic unity. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can have 9 songs about sandwiches if that's what blows your skirt up, and I'll probably listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, ode to the Reuben. But like, I don't. It doesn't have like I just think for me, because I just noticed this shit. It's like, oh, it's kind of ironic that he follows up the miscommunication song with one about the object that creates so much discord. And not like that's a detriment to the album. It's purely an observation. And you can't trust anything I say anyway, because I know we weren't going to talk about other songs. But briefly, the next song, Back to the Swing, which reminds me a lot of Superstition. There's this line, and I don't know if it's one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard or absolute dog shit. Help me out. Or you can wrap your worries underneath your armpits, because there's degrees to my spiritual secret.
I feel like there's not as much to unpack there as he's wanting us to believe.
And I'm just like, the man found a way, just barely, to work in a reference to deodorant without using stinky or smells or that kind of sense memory. Yeah. I appreciate that. However, I think this might be dumb.
I think it is. I think it was his attempt at a little joke. And while I can understand like wanting to do that, the execution was a little bit lacking on that one. I applaud the effort, because he's certainly not an untalented guy.
Fuck no.
And I certainly didn't hate really anything else on the album, and I didn't even hate that. I was just like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you see a comedian that you usually love, and 98% of their set is funny, and the other 2% you're just like, haha.
Well,
It just doesn't land the way the other stuff does.
yeah, it'd be like if Dave Chappelle did "You Might Be a Redneck If" and like didn't put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah. But did you know that your guy Frank Zappa had a whole song about sandwiches?
That might be a gap for me. That doesn't ring any bells.
Not this time. I made it up.
Oh my God. See,
Trolled your ass, dude.
Dude, you did. I 100% believed you because I was like, there is so much Frank Zappa content out there, and I love him, but I can't comb through like volume 12 of the fucking Seashell Sessions or whatever. So it was very possible that he snuck a sandwich song in there, and you knew it somehow. I should have known. You don't know dick all about Zappa. You look to me like an older brother. You got me good.
That was. I saw my opportunity. I had to get in there.
You Gwen Stefani'd me. I walked right into a spider web.
Oh man, that was satisfying.
That was good.
Yeah, that was the highlight of my week so far. That was nice. Well, did you have anything else for Lay It Down before we want to move on to your next one?
No, let's lay it down to the next one.
All right. Taste of You. And before you get started, just want to say, leave it to my co-host Alex to pick the sex song. Every time.
Every time. But this one, I promise, was purely subconscious. I picked this one because it was the most yachty song in the bunch. Now, for those fans of yacht rock and the podcast Beyond Yacht Rock, which is now defunct, R.I.P., they would evaluate listener submissions and see where they fall on the Yachtski scale. And I think you had to get like an 88 or higher to get on the boat. So I don't think this song gets on the boat. I think it just barely misses it. It's missing a lot of elements. I think the Stevie Wonder affectation, which is like real strong here, kind of overrides the yacht rock in the DNA.
Okay.
But it is simultaneously like a very classic sounding song. And he is in the pocket vocally because I think he's letting the song drive what he's doing vocally rather than building something around his vocal talents. That's at least how it comes across to me, is that he's like, okay, we wrote the song and now I have to fit in with the beat and the time and all that. Just like a really classic, sophisticated kind of song.
Oh, yeah. This one actually gave me very Thundercat vibes as well.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and a lot of points on the album did. I think just because when bass is like a really prominent instrument, a lot of times there's very certain types of music that lends itself to, and this is one of them. This kind of soul R&B style music, and I definitely heard a lot of yacht rock throughout this whole album. This song definitely the most though, and I think it. Like one of my notes was just like, this song fucks, because it's really, really good. And I think this is the one where it's like his voice, you really hear what he's capable of, because you've heard him belt already on the album. You've heard how loud he can sing. You've heard that he can hit, it seems like he's got a really good range too. Like he can go pretty deep and he can go into that falsetto and he can go between them pretty easily. Seems like he's got a very good grasp on his vocal abilities. But this one I think is the prime example of him holding back when it's necessary and really hammering down on the gas when he needs it. And I think it reminds me of, if there's any baseball fans out there, a really good pitching performance, throughout a whole 9-inning game, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be different things that happen that you have to navigate through. And this was that kind of song. Him being the singer compared to the pitcher, somebody that's really kind of picking the right moments to go loud, picking the right moments to let the music do the talking. And I thought this one was really well balanced and really well produced.
Yeah, I agree. It was very funky and I appreciated it.
Yeah, very, very funky. This was a good one. I missed my chance to when you said he wasn't going to get on the boat, I missed my chance to say, "Oh, you mean a stone won't float?"
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, yeah. I got it in anyway. I just had to backtrack a little bit there. So so the next one was another Alex pick, 3 in a row, a natural hat trick for those hockey fans out there, called "Give You Blue." Tell me about it.
Well, this is another one that is so fucking smooth.
Oh yeah.
And it's just the right amount of production. It's just the right, like these very like, it reminds me a lot, honestly, of Silk Sonic, where it's these very tasteful chimes and flourishes and like pizzicato on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But that all kind of takes a back seat to this Quiet Storm. Honestly, more Motown than Quiet Storm. Like, it's got its roots back. Like, he's big into Gladys Knight and Marvin Gaye and obviously Stevie Wonder. And like those influences shine through a lot here. But it's also got this kind of pop synth sensibility to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very fun, vibrant message. Like, times are going to get dark and I want to bring light to your life. It's a, thoughtful, simple message. And it's a great vocal showcase for him. It's a great composition that shows off all of his abilities. And I just love when that line hits, "I will give you blue." It's like, no matter what is happening around you, it all kind of drops out when he hits that line. "I will give you blue."
Yep.
When the gray skies come, "I will give you blue." Just
Yeah.
a great song. Just the tops,
Yeah.
Geoff.
And I think, you can tell me this and certainly explain as much as you need to about this, but I think isn't the word blue or any line that ends with ooh, like that sound, for great singers, that's like a meatball, right? That's one you hit out of the park every time.
For me personally, I find that difficult because like "ew" is a little more different than something more open like "ah" or "eh" when you're
Okay.
like trying to hit the back walls while you're singing. Like, literally. Sorry,
Okay.
I know I'm the sex guy, but sex pervert. But
Deviant.
yeah, when you're like really trying to project different vowels, I find at least like an "ooh." It's tighter space in the mouth. The inclination in the
Okay.
throat is to go tighter. So I don't want to speak for other vocalists, but when you say a meatball, I would liken it to having a meatball in your mouth, like a big Mama Magliana meatball.
Okay. So him crushing that line like he does just means he's that good.
He's
right?
that good. Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I was able to make a point after all there.
Yeah, I thought that was your point. Was like he overcame. He what am I trying to say? The word is escaping me. Persevered. That's
Yeah.
the one. He persevered.
Nevertheless, he persisted.
Correct.
Yes. No, I was actually, I thought that because not being a fantastic vocalist myself, I will give you blue. I thought that ooh sound was something that singers liked. Maybe that's why I was never really any good.
It depends on how high the note is. Something like this is probably doable, but if you're trying to hit like a B flat, like the end of Nessun Dorma, which is the famous that where Pavarotti just hits the ah at the end.
Yeah.
If you try to hit that note on an you're gonna have a bad time.
Okay. Well, good to know. For all you aspiring vocalists out there, stay away from the oohs.
Yeah,
Go for the ahs and the s.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. We have one more for you. It's actually the last song on the album. This was one of my picks, called Warriors. And this one, to me, could have been a Dua Lipa song.
I wrote the same
That's
thing.
that's why I liked it so much, because this was like the poppiest song on the album. I mean, while the rest of it was just excellent, like soul songs, R&B, like just baby making music, this was kind of like fist in the air pop song. I think when he plays shows, this one's probably going to get people moving, get people grooving. It's definitely like a us against the world kind of mentality in this song. So, I love a movie with a good underdog story. I love a song with a good underdog stories. And this one delivers, hits on all cylinders.
And it reminded me of that song, Rather Be. I think it's Jess Glynn and Clean Bandit. had that same kind of sensibility with like very piano forward and a very aggressive approach to, like, very house forward, without being overly electronic. And for me, it was kind of a clash between his vocals and what a good singer he is, and the style of this music. Not to the point where I was like, fuck this, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, well, this is a very stark experiment to end the album on. Do your thing. You've earned the goodwill. But this is interesting. I thought he would have gone out on like a big barn burner. But, and in a way he does, like sonically it's a barn burner. You're absolutely right. You play this at the party and you get the woo, the requisite woo from the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I thought he was going to go for like a big, like Celine Dion, Meatloaf kind of power ballad maybe to end it.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that would have been a good way, because I also noticed this was like, we always talk about album closers. You know, we talk about the, you know, what is it, like how the albums are organized, like making sure that you get the emotions, at least if you don't have like a storyline that goes all the way through, at least emotionally, you should have everything kind of synced as you're moving through the album. You know, it should go in waves, not starts and stops. And this one was definitely a departure, like you're saying, from the rest of the album. But I think it's like, I almost don't know how I feel about it as an album closer. I certainly love the song, but as an album closer, especially for this particular album, I don't know if it really fit in it. You know, it's one of those things where it like just was very kind of confusing to me. That's like everything else sounded, you know, it's not like everything else like sounded the same as you're moving through the album, but nothing sounded like this. Like everything else had things in common with other songs on the album. This one did not have really anything in common with other songs on the album.
Yeah, it was definitely an outlier, but again, not in a negative way. For me, the one like question I have about the song is like, you know, he's not Michael McDonald in that he sounds like Michael McDonald, but he's killing the Blue-Eyed Soul without it being offensive or without it being shitty. So, like, he's so good at that, and he's like trying to do that over this very electronic, very dancey song. So I'm just kind of like, well, I don't know if he's sticking the landing here, but it's a good song.
Yeah. And it's funny enough, because it's like you think about, you know, on albums when they have co-writers on certain songs, you can hear that influence. Like this is the same co-writer that he worked with on just, I think, the entire album. So it's not as if this was just somebody random that came in was like, let's do this type of song. It's like the two of them just decided like, let's do something different, which is almost more impressive to me, because it's not as if you had somebody that was like already doing this kind of music come in and help you make a song like that. It's not as if you had like Dua Lipa's producers come in and help you craft this song. It's like you just spent an entire album making a completely different kind of music, and then you just decided to make like a good song in a totally different genre. And I thought that kind of talent was like, that's pretty impressive to be able to do that. Again, as an album closer and how it fits in with the rest of it could be up for debate. I'm not going to argue with anybody if they say this one doesn't really fit with the rest of it, but I certainly still enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. Again, my like criticism isn't even really like a criticism. It's just, again, a stupid observation from a stupid man. Who also made the observation that the song before it, Chippin' Away, is like a very blatant homage to the Al Jarreau song Breaking Away. Have you heard that?
Yep.
Breaking Away! Oh, I love that song. You want to talk about something that's on the boat. It is.
That's on the boat.
Starboard side, my friend.
That's First Mate.
That's right. You're goddamn right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that does it for the album. So, my voice cracked there.
Oh, puberty.
Finally. Jeez, been waiting 33 years. So, cousin of the pod, Patrick, thank you very much for the submission. Looking forward to the next one, because my friend, you are 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really fun one to listen to. I'm going to go ahead and say stream it, because I think you're going to have a good time with this one.
Yeah, fuck, stream it. I mean, I love soul. I love R&B. I love good music. So if you do too, this is the album for you. I will say stream it.
Excellent. It's always nice to have an album that we really had fun with. And I think this is one, there's a lot of these songs that I probably am going to add to I have a playlist called Getting Loose. So it's got a lot of like Solomon Burke on there and Anderson East and, a lot of the kind of some old Motown stuff and, some newer soul. Like I think That Thing by Lauryn Hill is on there. Yeah, just songs that get you moving, just songs that get you grooving. And a couple of these songs are going to certainly make it onto that playlist.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be hitting this again.
Yeah, this was a fun one. So we're just about out of time here, but I think we have a couple housekeeping things that we should talk about. So we're recording this Wednesday, so you'll be listening on a Monday, and that means the previous Thursday there will have been another singles episode uploaded to YouTube by yours truly. It's my turn this week, so make sure you search hashtag Out on That Line on YouTube. We're starting to gain those followers, folks. We're starting to gain those subscribers. Join the horde. Join the horde.
It just reminds me of
Become
Venture
mighty.
Brothers. The fluttering horde is what the Monarch calls his little butterfly villains.
Oh, that's perfect. They could be our fluttering horde.
I like that.
Venture Brothers don't exist anymore, right?
Exactly. So we're just going to take the fluttering horde, and that's the name of our... It's like Chapo Trap House calls their fans the Grey Wolves. So
yeah, we'll just say it's like an homage to Venture Brothers and not in any way a selfish endeavor.
Exactly. We stand to gain nothing from this except for brand recognition.
Nothing at all. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube by searching hashtag Out on That Line.
I have a quick question for
all
you.
of our singles. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No.
slow your roll
Let's hear
there.
it.
But I'm thinking to get people really searching, because the hashtag's one thing. But since we record these with enough notice that it's not ruining anything to tell them what the video was, what do you have? What, by the time they're listening to this, will you have released unto the world?
I don't know yet.
Oh, my God. He's waiting till the last minute. He's a fucking riverboat casino captain.
Yeah, can't make diamonds without a little pressure, my friend.
Wow. Okay, well.
Yeah, that's just how I roll. That's just how I do things. Why, as I think it was Mark Twain said, why put off to tomorrow what you can put off to the day after tomorrow?
It's very wise. Sagacious.
That's how I live my life.
1/4 mile at a time.
That's just how I live my life. Yeah. Who needs oxygen when you got family?
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Oh, I do want to talk about something that was discussed on Skimbo Lounge.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna consider this housekeeping items. You guys were talking about Fast 9, and you were like, "Oh man, they're gonna go to space in Fast 10." My friend, they're going to space in Fast 9.
No fucking way.
Yes.
No, come on, they're not really, are they?
Yes.
How did you find this out?
The trailer.
I've seen the trailer. I don't remember anyone going to space. Holy shit! Do I need to go back and watch it?
I think you do.
Is this another Zappa sandwich situation, Geoff? You shan't be doing this twice.
Well, to be honest with you, I was pretty sure I was right, but now I'm questioning. So we're just gonna have to find out.
I'm just gonna gaslight you to end the episode.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to find out. But that's I can't wait for the line that who needs oxygen when you got family, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, man. I just want them having a barbecue on the surface of Mars.
Oh, you won't need a barbecue for that. It's hot enough.
Yeah, man. Just a couple of cold Coronas and
right? No, actually, no. It's probably really cold on Mars. It's further away from the sun than we are. Okay, so I'm 0 for 2 in the last few minutes here.
I agreed with you, so I guess I am too.
It's a red planet, right? It should be hot.
It should theoretically be boiling hot. Yes, I don't understand.
Get your shit together, Mars.
Yeah, come on, God. How come you made the planet so fucked up?
Yeah, fucking terrible, terrible things. So you can find all of our past episodes by searching hashtag Out on That Line on YouTube. We upload all of those as well as all of our singles videos. I think we're going to be up to what? This will be 10?
No, you're doing uploaded?
11. 11.
Yep.
Not from Stranger Things. This is from Out on That Line. We're going to have 11 episodes of singles ready and rocking and waiting for you. So check those out. You're going to find us on Spotify at Out on That Line. You're going to find us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Anchor. You're going to find us on Instagram at Out on That Line. You're going to find us on Twitter at Out on That Line 1. You're going to find us on Facebook by just searching Out on That Line Podcast. Go ahead and follow us there as well. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Anytime you have an album recommendation, something that you love, something that you're dying to hear us talk about, make sure it's good first, because if it's bad, we'll let you know. If you want to hear any of that, you just go ahead and email us outonthatline@gmail.com or DM us at any of those locations that I previously mentioned. Alex, do you have anything else this week?
I have nothing. I'm ready for us to fly free.
All right. Well, until next time.